there's something quietly happening to you right now. As you sit here watching this, a part of your brain is already deciding whether this is worth your attention or if it should move on to something easier. That silent tug-of-war happens thousands of times a day, shaping what you focus on, what you quit, and what you never even start. It's subtle, but it's also the reason why your ability to stay consistent, to build, to focus, keeps slipping away. Here's the twist. The same mechanism that pushes you away from effort can be reprogrammed to make you crave it. What if discipline could feel as good as scrolling? What if focus could trigger the same pleasure as a notification? This isn't motivational fluff. It's neuroscience. And once you understand what's really going on in your head, you'll realize that willpower isn't failing you. Your brain's reward system is just being hijacked. Your brain runs on a basic economic rule. It's always looking for the best return on its energy investment. Every action you think about gets instantly evaluated. High effort, uncertain reward. Your brain slams the brakes. Low effort, guaranteed pleasure, green light. This isn't laziness, it's ancient survival programming. Back when food was scarce and energy meant survival, conserving effort made sense. But that old system is now operating in a world designed to exploit it. Every app, every snack, every short-form video you scroll through, each one is engineered to light up the exact circuits in your brain that scream reward without you earning it. Your brain isn't broken, it's being played. Let's talk about what's really happening when you can't start that project or drag yourself to the gym. Deep inside your brain is a small cluster of neurons called the Nucleus accumbens, the engine of motivation. It runs on dopamine, but not in the way people think. Dopamine isn't the pleasure chemical, it's the chemical of wanting. It spikes not when you get a reward, but when you anticipate one. That's why scrolling feels addictive. Each swipe is a tiny slot machine pull. Maybe this next one will be interesting. That uncertainty floods your brain with dopamine, keeping you hooked. But here's where things turn dark. Too much easy dopamine causes your brain to adapt. It's called downregulation. Your receptors literally decrease in number. It's your brain turning down the volume on satisfaction. Suddenly, things that once felt rewarding, reading, working out, finishing a task, barely move the needle. You're not lazy. You're overstimulated. You're desensitized. It's not a discipline problem, it's a chemistry problem. This is why people who live online, jumping from one quick hit of content to another, often feel drained, unfocused, and unmotivated. They've trained their brains to expect constant stimulation. So when faced with something that requires effort or patience, their brain labels it as pain. The balance between effort and reward has been distorted. Real achievement can't compete with instant gratification. But here's the beautiful part. Neuroplasticity works both ways. What's been rewired can be repaired. Your brain can reset. Every decision you make, every moment you resist the easy route, you're reshaping those neural pathways. You're teaching your brain what to value again. So what exactly is a dopamine detox? And why does it work? The name is a little misleading. You're not removing dopamine itself. You're removing the artificial sources that flood your brain with it. Imagine your dopamine system as a light switch that's been stuck on max brightness for years. Everything normal now looks dull. A dopamine detox is about dimming that switch so your brain can relearn balance. When you strip away the overwhelming stimulation, the endless notifications, the junk food, the quick thrills, something starts to change. Your brain begins to upregulate. Your dopamine receptors grow more sensitive. Suddenly, ordinary things start to feel alive again. Reading feels satisfying. Finishing a workout feels powerful. Completing a task feels fulfilling. You're not becoming someone new, you're returning to normal. You're remembering what genuine satisfaction feels like. But most people fail at this because they misunderstand what it is. They try to force it through sheer willpower, but willpower burns out fast. You can't fight your biology with brute force. The first few days of a detox feel uncomfortable, restless, irritable, anxious. That's not weakness. That's withdrawal. Your brain's been overstimulated for so long that taking away its main source of pleasure feels like panic. But that discomfort is the process working. It's your brain recalibrating itself. The problem is, most people give up right before the breakthrough. They think the discomfort means they're doing something wrong, when in reality, it means they're finally doing something right. So how do you actually do this? Start by identifying your biggest sources of cheap dopamine. Not necessarily the things you love, but the things that give you maximum pleasure for minimum effort. For most people, that's their phone, especially social media, short-form videos or games. For others, it's junk food, shopping, or adult content. These are the things that hijack your reward system. You don't have to cut them forever, just long enough for your brain to reset. Pick a time frame, 3 days minimum, 7 days ideal, 14 days transformative. During that time, you're creating scarcity. You're forcing your brain to look elsewhere for reward. But don't just remove things, you have to replace them. Because when you take away easy pleasure, your brain starts looking for something else to do. Give it harder but more meaningful tasks. Read a physical book, go for a walk without music, cook instead of ordering, write by hand, have an actual conversation. These will feel boring at first, because your reward system is still wired for intensity. But as the days pass, something changes. The same dopamine that once kept you scrolling starts firing for these slow, grounded moments. You're reprogramming the system. The real secret here is understanding the difference between pleasure and satisfaction. Pleasure is quick and shallow. It's external. It fades as fast as it comes. Satisfaction is slower, deeper. It's earned. It comes from creating, from achieving, from doing something difficult and seeing it through. Our world is overflowing with pleasure but starving for satisfaction. You can spend an entire day entertained and still go to bed feeling hollow. That's because your brain got pleasure but no meaning. A dopamine detox shifts your focus away from chasing stimulation and toward building fulfillment. And here's the kicker. Long-term satisfaction actually creates more dopamine over time than cheap pleasure ever could. Every time you push through resistance and complete something hard, your brain rewards you with a powerful mix of dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins. That's why athletes talk about the runner's high, or creators feel a deep calm after hours of work. That cocktail of chemicals is what true contentment feels like. It's sustainable. It's real. Science backs this up. Delayed gratification lights up the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain in charge of focus, planning, and self-control. The more you strengthen that part through discipline, the easier discipline becomes. Meanwhile, instant gratification lights up the limbic system, the impulsive, emotional part of your brain that craves comfort. Every time you choose effort over ease, you're strengthening the higher functions and quieting the primitive ones. You're upgrading your brain's operating system. Eventually, discipline stops feeling like a battle and starts feeling natural. Not because life gets easier, but because your brain has adapted to prefer challenge over chaos. When you stick with it long enough, you'll notice subtle but powerful shifts. Your focus sharpens, you can read longer, think deeper, work without needing constant breaks. Your mind feels clearer. Ideas come more naturally. Decision-making gets easier because you're not constantly seeking little dopamine hits. Your energy stabilizes. You stop riding that exhausting roller coaster of stimulation and crash. Even more surprising, you'll start craving the things you used to avoid. That project you've been procrastinating, you'll actually want to work on it. The gym session that once felt like torture, you'll look forward to it. This isn't fake motivation. It's your brain returning to balance. It's how it's meant to function. But here's what most people don't like to admit. This isn't a one-time fix. Your brain will always lean toward the path of least resistance. It's wired that way. The trick is to make discipline the easier choice. That's where your environment comes in. If your phone's by your bed, you'll check it first thing. If junk food's on the counter, you'll eat it. But if your workspace is clean, your phone's in another room, your workout clothes are ready, then focus becomes the path of least resistance. Design your space so distraction is inconvenient and discipline is effortless. Delete social media apps. Use website blockers. Make the things that drain you harder to reach, and the things that grow you easier to start. Every small adjustment is a vote for the person you want to become. There's also a social element most people overlook. The people around you quietly shape your dopamine baseline. If your circle is made of people who are always scrolling, chasing instant rewards, or living on autopilot, you'll be pulled in that direction too. But if you surround yourself with people who value focus, deep work, and discipline, you'll rise to match them. Habits are contagious. That's not just metaphor, it's neuroscience. So be intentional. Seek out spaces and people who reinforce the identity you're building. Your environment isn't just physical, it's social, mental, digital. Everything you expose yourself to shapes your brain. Now, let's be honest. This sounds hard. And from your current state, it is. Because you're looking at it from the perspective of a brain that's overstimulated. From that state, effort looks painful. But from the other side, from the perspective of someone who's reset their brain, discipline feels easier than distraction. Because distraction drains you, it leaves you empty. Discipline fills you, it gives you a quiet sense of control. The truth is, the easy path now is the hard path later. Every shortcut adds weight you'll have to carry eventually. So the real question isn't, why make life harder? It's how much longer do you want to feel hijacked? Right now, if you're honest, you're not fully in control. Your phone decides when you feel bored. Algorithms decide what you think about. Notifications decide when you feel rewarded. That's not freedom. That's programming. Real freedom is when your brain works for you, not against you. It's when you can choose discomfort and actually enjoy it. It's when you wake up curious instead of anxious and go to bed satisfied instead of overstimulated. That's what's waiting on the other side of this process. Not perfection, not ease, just alignment. Your choices finally match your goals, your actions finally match your intentions. The rewiring never really ends. You're always either training your brain toward discipline or toward distraction. But once you've reset, the pull toward the easy stuff weakens. You start operating from intrinsic motivation. You do hard things because they feel good, because they align with who you want to be. That's real discipline. It's not forced, it's not performed, it's who you've become. So here's what I want you to do next. Don't just watch this and move on. That's what your dopamine-addicted brain wants, to absorb the idea and skip the action. Instead, make one small decision right now. Identify the biggest empty dopamine source in your life. You already know what it is. Commit to cutting it out for 7 days. Not forever, just 7. Watch what happens. Notice the restlessness. Notice the boredom. Notice when it peaks. Notice when it fades. Pay attention to what fills the silence. And when you start feeling the shift, when the noise in your head quiets down and effort starts feeling rewarding again, you'll understand something deep. You were never lazy. You were overstimulated. You were never broken, just hijacked. And once you reclaim control, once you feel your brain working for you again, you'll never want to go back. Because that's what this is really about. Remembering what it means to be fully alive, fully present, and fully in charge of your own mind. Your brain is ready. The only question is, are you?